Live from the campus of Penn State University, this is PSN News. It's Monday, February 6th. We have all you need to know about changes in Penn State administrative positions.
We also have more on the arrest of 3 Penn State students, along with weather, sports, and entertainment. Stay tuned.
Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Hannah Markovich.
And I'm Brendan Conroy.
Penn State has now reorganized its leadership positions within its finance and business unit. This resulted in the elimination of 3 senior-level administration positions, according to a university release. 3 staff members have also been elevated to leadership positions. The promotion of the unit's 3 members will allow the unit to streamline its organizational structure, according to Sarah Thorndike, the Senior Vice President for Finance and Business. The vacancy for the Associate Vice President for Budget and University Budget Officer will not be filled. Thorndike says she will shift responsibilities among the unit to other leadership positions.
After only 6 weeks of employment, Robert Corman is no longer Penn State's Associate Vice President for Budget. This update was announced by university spokesperson Lisa Powers following a report stating the position was now vacant. Although the university cannot disclose the reasoning for Corman's departure, there were plans announced to change up Penn State's finance and business unit structure. In addition to Corman stepping away, some key names that have also either transitioned to other roles or left the university are Vice President and Provost Nick Jones, and most recently, Vice President for Student Affairs, Damon Sims. These changes are among many in the last few months of President Bendaputi's term.
The State College Police Department has arrested 3 Penn State students after they allegedly assaulted a man and left him hospitalized on East Beaver Avenue in November. A criminal complaint reports that Valentino Scarpone and Keith Onimus were observed striking and kicking the man several times in the head and torso areas. Joseph Keffer also struck the man in the head and torso. Court documents state Scarpone and Onimus were charged with counts of assault, disorderly conduct, and harassment. Keffer was charged with 1 count of assault and 1 summary count of harassment and disorderly conduct. All 3 students are scheduled for a preliminary hearing on March 15th.
A former State College business owner is being sentenced to 80 months of jail time and ordered to pay a fine of $10,000 after pepper spraying police officers during a riot that took place on January 6th. Julian Ellie Cater was the former co-owner and manager of Fruitables in State College. Although Cater was not responsible, a U.S. Capitol police officer was announced dead from 2 strokes and natural causes. Cater pleaded guilty to more than 5 charges on September 1st, 2022. 3 officers suffered injuries, including temporary blindness, as a result of Cater's actions. After Punxsutawney Phil saw this shadow this past Groundhog's Day, we're expected to have 6 more weeks of winter. But will Happy Valley's weather match that prediction? Hannah George with Campus Weather Service will give us more details in this week's weather report. Take a look.
From the students of Penn State Meteorology, here is your Penn State Campus Weather Service forecast.
Good evening from the Penn State Campus Weather Service. I'm Hannah George. I hope you're all having a wonderful Monday. Right now over at Beaver Stadium, we're looking at a temperature of 36 degrees. Nothing much to see out there, and those temperatures are going to continue to decrease into the night with a low of 24 tonight, and it's going to stay mostly cloudy. Nothing's going to be happening much, but as we move into tomorrow, we're going to see a temperature of 45, which is pretty nice, but definitely some showers might be thrown in there. If you ask me, I'll take some showers if it means it'll be a little bit warmer, but maybe that's just me. Overall in the state right now, we're seeing pretty steady 30s and 40s, nothing too significant standing out. 43 in Philly and 29 up in Erie, but Nothing much else other than that. And overall in the state, we've actually seen a pretty steady decrease in temperatures throughout the last 24 hours, with Pittsburgh even seeing a decrease in 18 degrees. That's honestly not the case for most of the country right now. As you can see, as we zoom out a little bit more, a lot of places are actually seeing an increase, such as Memphis, Atlanta, Columbia. They're all seeing a decent increase in temperature. And overall in the country, we're looking at some pretty nice temperatures for February. Corpus Christi has a 73 right now, which is pretty nice. Right now, radar-wise, not a lot going on out there, but as we move into Tuesday, you're going to see this band's going to come in, and it's going to come right over State College and move out overnight, but in comes later on Wednesday a pretty big system that's going to stick around to Thursday and kind of take over the state for a little. As you can see, if we zoom out a little, by around evening Thursday, it's actually going to be covering basically the entire state. So that's definitely something to look out for if you're making any plans Thursday. And that's going to clear out again overnight, and Friday will be pretty clear, though we could see something else moving in overnight Friday. Your 7-day forecast is looking pretty nice compared to what we've been seeing these past couple weeks. Today and tomorrow are going to stay in those 40s as well as Wednesday, but Thursday and Friday we're actually going to move into the 50s, which is pretty nice, though there will be a chance of rain on Thursday. Saturday is going to creep back down into those 30s where we might see a wintry mix, and Sunday is going to pick it back up again with a high of 41, and it'll be pretty sunny, and it might get a little cloudy overnight, but nothing too bad compared to what we've been seeing. That's all for me. For PSN News, I'm Hannah George.
Welcome back to PSN News. I'm Joseph Dorn with your sports update. Penn State men's hockey wrapped up its series with Ohio State over the weekend, splitting 1 win and 1 loss. The win came over the Buckeyes on Friday with an impressive 4-2 win, with the Nittany Lions scoring the leading goal in the last 2 minutes of regulation. However, the Blue and White's luck turned for the worse when they took the ice less than 24 hours later, losing 2-4 to Ohio State. The Buckeyes moved up to 7 in the NCAA rankings, while the Nittany Lions moved up to 8. The Nittany Lions take the ice again on the 17th back at home in Happy Valley. In other local news, Penn State men's basketball recently faced off against Big Ten rival Nebraska. The Nittany Lions lost their second game in a row on their road circuits, falling just short with a final score of 72-63. The loss came after again falling short to number 1 ranked Purdue. Sunday's game saw forward Seth Lundy put up a team-leading 24 points, followed by Jalen Pickett with 15. Our Lions return home to play an unranked Wisconsin this Wednesday, the 8th. Moving to national sports, the basketball world was shaken up recently. News came out that Kyrie Irving had been traded from the Brooklyn Nets to the Dallas Mavericks. Irving requested a trade from Brooklyn after failing to negotiate a contract extension. Needing to move him or let him walk in free agency, the Nets sent him to Dallas in exchange for guard Spencer Dinwiddie, a former Net himself, and forward Dorian Finney-Smith, first round and multiple second-round picks. Kyrie is expected to make his Mavericks debut this Wednesday on the road against the Clippers. That's all for your sports update. After the break, Juliana Tordo has the latest updates from the entertainment world. Stay tuned.
Welcome back to PSN News. I'm Juliana Tordo with your entertainment update. Coming to perform at the Bryce Jordan Center on March 27th is the Kid Leroy. Leroy will be rocking the BJC as a part of his Bleed For You tour, while he'll be going to various colleges across the United States. Leroy is known for songs like Stay with Justin Bieber and Without You that had an alternate version with a Miley Cyrus feature. The opening act of the tour will be Jeremy Zucker, who started his music career back in 2015 and is best known for his 2018 song Come Through. Although tickets went on sale Friday, February 3rd, they are not sold out just yet. You can purchase tickets via Ticketmaster with prices starting at just $33. February is Black History Month, and there are many events going on downtown and on campus to celebrate. One particular event being held by the Palmer Museum of Art includes self-guided tours that feature works on display by Black artists. You can pick up a printed guide in the lobby of the museum and discover various artwork from the late 1800s to present day. This will be available throughout the whole month of February, and admission is free. Last night was music's biggest night at the 65th Grammy Awards. The night included performances from Harry Styles to Bad Bunny, and even had a special tribute to 50 years of hip-hop. Song of the Year was won by Bonnie Raitt for her song Just Like That, And Record of the Year went to Lizzo for her song About Damn Time. The most prestigious award of the evening, Album of the Year, went to Harry Styles for Harry's House. Beyoncé won 4 Grammys last night for Best R&B Song, Dance Electronic Music Recording, Traditional R&B Performance, and finally, Best Dance Electronic Music Album. These made Beyoncé the most decorated Grammy artist in music history with a total of 32 Grammys. That's all for your entertainment update. After the break, interview anchor Paloma Frount will be speaking with Andrew Scioto, a managing partner of the president of Happy Valley Venture Capital. Stay tuned.
Hello and welcome back to PSN News. I'm Paloma Frount. With me tonight, I have managing partner and president of Happy Valley Venture Capital, Andrew Scioto. Andrew, thank you so much for joining me tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Alrighty, so I'll start by asking, what is Happy Valley Venture Capital and who do you work with?
Yeah, absolutely. So Happy Valley Venture Capital is Penn State's startup and venture capital network. And so I like to describe it as being twofolded. We work with both student founders. These are students that have startups, small businesses that they've created and are currently scaling and growing. We also work with students who are interested in the investing side of startups, actually investing money into these startups, working with technology or projects in general. And so the way that we do it is we work directly with these startup founders, one-on-one sessions with our team. We also have our pitch competition that we'll get into. And then with those students interested in the investing angle, we run our Venture Fellows program. This is a semester-long program preparing them to work at venture funds or to enhance their own recruiting and job process.
Awesome. You did mention pitch compensation. So what is it and how can the founders apply for it?
Yeah, that's a great question because we just opened up our applications today live on our website, our Instagram page. So if you go there and check us out, you'll find the link to our application. But what our pitch competition is, we run it each spring. It's the kickoff event of Penn State Startup Week. This year will be one of the biggest startup events on campus. So this year we're giving away over $25,000 to these 5 finalists in the pitch competition. So if you're a student founder, it's the best possible way to actually get some capital for your startup to grow without taking any equity away as well. And this is due to the Farrell Center for Entrepreneurship, our advisor, Dr. Miller, who helps fund this event. They'll be funding the $25,000 for this year. So if you go onto our website, you apply, you'll hear back from us, and then those 5 finalists that are selected, they go up through our startup advisory program where we work directly with them through their pitch, getting ready for the whole process, and then we also connect them with early stage investors, accelerators, so that they can meet some folks in the venture industry in preparation for the competition. And then at that event, it's a whole celebration event where we're bringing in small business owners, those startup founders, and they'll be pitching that in front of a panelist of venture capitalists and startup founders who are all Penn State alum.
Sounds like an amazing opportunity for anybody interested in that.
Absolutely.
And you mentioned, outreach. So how does Happy Valley Venture Capital connect with the global venture capital? Is it through partnerships or like through things like this, as you just mentioned?
Absolutely. So back in 2020, the spring of my freshman year, we put on the largest undergraduate venture summit called UVS, Undergraduate Venture Summit, which we connected with universities across the globe, which actually led to the formation of what I currently am helping to build out right now, College Ventures Network. And so Penn State was one of the founding schools behind UVS, which led to College Ventures Network with 60 other university accelerators, venture funds. And so as far as Penn State goes, we're connected in the creation of College Ventures Network and the global VC community. And so we work with organizations like that, our advisors like Santosh and Xander, who went on to found companies, run venture capital firms, and so we connect with our advisors along with other universities and funds across the world.
And there's some people that, just explain to everyone, what is venture capital, and when you say startups, what exactly do you mean? And for somebody who may not know a ton about it, how can they get involved in this?
Yeah, that's a great question. And so what startups are these are businesses that can grow and scale rapidly over time. So think of a startup as like a Google or a Facebook in the early days or the very first time that those were created. And so these startups are growing, scaling rapidly. Think of like software type businesses. That's what distinguishes them from like a pizza shop or a food restaurant downtown. they can scale and grow rapidly. And so what venture capital is the actual investment into these startups. Think about it if you were writing a check or you were sitting across from a founder of a large tech company. Well, they meet with these VCs and they invest money in order for those startups to grow over time. And so how you can get involved with VC is right through Happy Valley VC and through organizations like College Ventures Network. What we help to do, particularly in Happy Valley VC, is we really want to land students, and we have a very successful track record of landing students from big tech to Wall Street to actually working in venture capital firms.
You know, you talk about, we just discussed how do you get involved, and you kind of led into what happens after college. How does Happy Valley Venture Capital, you know, give almost like a power to these people involved, like the students involved that others may not have after graduation?
Well, to be honest, it really starts with the people who are involved in our organization. Since our founding in 2017, all of the members of our organization, our Venture Fellows program, our executive team themselves have really put an emphasis on recruiting and actually breaking into these industries. We have placement from big tech like Google and Facebook to Wall Street, such as Goldman Sachs, Bank of America, tech investment banking at JP Morgan. Former partners of HVVC have gone to actually work in these venture capital funds themselves in the largest student-run venture capital fund. And so we really put an emphasis on who's involved with HVVC. And that's a great organization to meet like-minded individuals who like to build and innovate things and actually, you know, enhance their career along the way. It's not just an organization where you slap it on the resume and it sort of looks good. Well, you can actually work with very talented people who really want to make a difference in their industries or in their interests. They want to
also
pursue.
strong alumni too for the
Absolutely,
college.
yeah.
Unfortunately, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for joining us, Andrew, and sharing some more about your amazing organization. Maybe you'll be the next Jeff Bezos. Next up, we're going to have Brendan and Hannah bringing you the latest news across the nation. Stay tuned.
Tyree Nichols, the 29-year-old black man who was beaten to death by 5 police officers, was laid to rest on the first day of Black History Month. The funeral was live on television at the Mississippi Boulevard Church in, oh, sorry, that was so bad. In addition to the private mourning of Nichols' family and friends, the ritual was, that was so bad. Sorry. No, you're fine. I literally. Tyree Nichols, the 29-year-old black man who was beaten to death by 5 police officers, was laid to rest on the first day of Black History Month. The funeral was live on television at the Mississippi Boulevard Christian Church. In addition to the private mourning of Nichols' family and friends, the ritual was public and political in Memphis, Tennessee. The service was a hallmark for Black American communities. It presented comforting gospel hymns, remembrances from loved ones, and a eulogy from a clergyman. The service aired shared grief of Black Americans and a call to leaders to address the epidemic of police violence.
5 black police officers were fired and are being charged with second-degree murder following their January 7th beating of Tyree Nichols that ultimately led to his death. This event puts emphasis on the fact that racial bias and dehumanization can spread in all directions. Joshua Adams, an activist in Memphis, shared his thoughts on the matter, stating, quote, "It is not the color of the officer, but it is the color of who's being policed," end quote. This is one of the numerous incidents that has involved racial discrimination with police authority in the past few years. It was said that this was considered once again another act of police brutality.
Following the recent killing of Tyree Nichols, members of the Congressional Black Caucus had a meeting with President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris to discuss an agreement on addressing policing issues in America. The group of black lawmakers did not disclose details about the agreement, but more information on a legislative package will come in the days ahead. Lawmakers in the discussion said that politicians of all parties will need to come together to cross the finish line. Biden has embraced calls for overhauling how police do their jobs while emphasizing his longtime support for law enforcement.
A federal appeals court ruled that the government is not allowed to stop people with domestic violence restraining orders from owning a gun. This is the latest part of the Supreme Court's update to its gun laws. The case began as a Texas man was found in possession of a rifle after pleading guilty to harassing and stalking his ex-girlfriend and their child. The man claims it is unconstitutional for the government to deny his right to bear arms, as every person should have the privilege. The ruling that allowed people to own a gun states that people will be banned from carrying concealed weapons in public spaces except for businesses or locations with a sign saying it is okay to do so. That concludes our show tonight at PSN News.
Be sure to check us out on Twitter and Facebook at PSN News, on Instagram at Penn State Network News, and to subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/PSN News.
Have a good night and stay safe, Penn State.